perspective. Nobody does it better.
Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Here comes the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. From guys who bleed purple and gold, just like you.
All hands on deck!
Welcome to Hoist the Colors, with your host, Stephen Igo, on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook at 943thegame.com and on the IBX Media app. Here's Stephen Igo.
And Hoist the Colors on a Thursday, August 13th edition of the program. We may talk some football towards the end of the show. NC State has brought back their class of 2022 fifth-year cornerback. ECU still waiting to make that decision for us. So we'll get into that discussion in the latter half of the program. But we're going to talk a lot of baseball today because we've got the head coach Cliff Godwin in studio. First on-air interview since the end of the season, Coach?
It is, number one. So, obviously, when the season's over, first off, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate the support of our program for you guys. And, people text you when the season's over, hey, take some days off. Well, that's wide open.
Yeah.
You're meeting with your players. You're trying to retain your players. You got the portal. You got visits. I mean, the month of, June is just crazy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Then you got the draft, so we actually are starting school a week earlier than we did last year. So it doesn't feel like you had a lot of time, if it's, our first team meeting's on Friday.
It's crazy, man. Do you get any time to, go to the beach and just unwind a little bit? Because, obviously you guys in athletics, you know what you're signing up for, but still you're human. I mean, you got to have some time with your family, your friends to get away from it a little bit.
Yeah. Bree and I went down to the beach, July 31st, got down there Friday night, but August 1 is the first day you can contact juniors. So at least I was at the beach, but from 8:25 in the morning till 3 o'clock that day, I did not move from my cell phone FaceTiming recruits. And then Sunday we were offering some guys, so pretty much from 9 a.m. till 1 o'clock, I'm on Zooms with parents and players. But we were at the beach, and Chad Tracy and his family were down there, and then the Laffertys from Ole Miss came as well. So we did get a little bit of time away, but you're still working. You're still having to be on the phone some, for sure.
We've got Cliff Godwin in studio today, and we'll look back at the 2026 season some. But let's talk about, Coach, first off, some big changes with your staff. And in some ways, although we know a lot of these faces, I do want to start with Jeff Palumbo because, at least from my perspective, I got word he had other interests once again, which is nothing new. And it feels like, obviously, he's back. So his commitment to you guys, your program, has to mean a lot as well.
Yeah, I think, Jeff definitely wants to be a head coach, and I want him to be a head coach. The last 2 years, as I told Jeff, I said, it hasn't been to the standard that ECU baseball has been accustomed to. And look, I'm the head man. I take full responsibility, but you're not going to get head coaching opportunities when we're not hosting regionals and doing what we need to do. So we're super pumped. Jeff and I have been together since day one. Jeff has put a ton of work into this program. He deserves all the credit that he gets for sure. But all of us need to drop our egos a little bit and just figure out how we can host regionals again. And that's one thing I'm fired up about. Jake, Pack, Franny, all elevating their roles. And there's actually going to be a pretty exciting announcement come August 31st that you can just chew on a little bit there, I go, because
no secret intel yet?
No secret intel, but fired up, and we're going to have a really good staff, and I'm really fired up about it. And we've got a deep team. It's the deepest team we've ever had on paper at East Carolina since I've been the head coach. So fired up about it, and fired up that we got former Pirate players that are pouring into our guys, and they were ready for those positions. And I know you're going to ask specifically about these guys, but you think about within probably a 5-day span, you lose 3 personnel, 1 pitching coach, 1 hitting coach, and the middle of the portal. And we did not lose one of our players that was a returning player to the portal because of a coaching change. Well, that tells you how great Jake Agnos is as a pitching coach and the relationships that he had with our guys. That tells you how great Bryant Packard and Franny's relationships were with our guys, and also their expertise. And then also Jeff and I being, still here, that none of our players flinched. In the middle of a portal season, as you know, a stiff breeze can make guys go into a portal.
No doubt. It doesn't take a whole lot. Let's start with Jake. Obviously, you know him well as a player. Spent some time in the minor leagues, dealt with injuries, comes back, works with AK last year. So what gave you the confidence to give him that promotion with the pitching coach job?
Well, when you rewind a little bit, I guess it was late in the spring of 25, he called me, Coach, I think I'm done playing and I want to get into coaching. And, I said, well, in baseball, you got to be like a graduate manager, man. It's going to, you're going to have to grind. But, of course, you'll be with AK and you'll be around the pitchers and you'll learn, because when you play college baseball, it's one thing, but then being on the other side of it and just hearing Jake, Pack, and Franny talk, like there's so much more that goes into it than probably we thought as players. But really similar to when Jason Dietrich left to be the head coach at Cal State Fullerton, people probably looked from the outside looking in. You named Austin Knight the pitching coach at East Carolina when you were having head coaches reach out to you about the pitching coaching job. You had pitching coaches from all over the country. I had a Zoom the next morning, and I was actually in Chapel Hill at the North Carolina State games. And the next morning I said, hey, guys, Austin Knight's your pitching coach. Well, as soon as AK told me that he was going to take the job, I met with the staff. I called Jake up to the press box. Jake and I met for maybe 10 minutes. We FaceTimed his mom and his wife first, and that was pretty awesome to tell them that this is the new ECU pitching coach. And then we FaceTimed all of our returning players. And same thing when, Goat left. We did that with Pack and Franny and myself, and our players were so fired up for those guys.
If Packard as well, he's the guy who I guess has been with your staff a little longer. But I don't know if you hire these guys with this expectation coming down the line, but does it just kind of naturally happen with them knowing your program as players, but then once they see the coaching side, is it kind of a natural evolution of the ECU baseball way, I guess is the best way to say it?
Well, I think it's very special when you have three really good players that play for you that want to get into coaching. They want to get into coaching, but they also want to coach at East Carolina. It doesn't always work that way. If I had to do all over again, I probably would have just promoted Pack last summer, but hindsight's 2020. Pack was probably ready then, but he's definitely ready now. And just seeing those guys work this summer and the passion that they have for our baseball program and the care level, they're just not going to let it fail is the easiest way for me to describe that.
Recruiting-wise, just knowing Pack and Agnos, their personalities. Like I'm sure they got to get out and experience that as coaches. It's a different animal to a degree, but I would think their personalities and the way they can sell ECU makes them pretty effective recruiters.
For sure. Jake is definitely an energetic guy that loves to talk, loves people, and Pack is kind of the same way. And then Franny is more reserved, but man, the knowledge he has and the way he worked with our catchers, and all three of them had different personalities and needed to work on three different things. And I've just been so proud of those guys to see those guys evolve, and they're ready. They're ready for those positions. And I do believe that, God had a plan when this whole thing started 12 years ago that it wasn't going to happen as fast as we thought it was going to happen as far as us getting to the College World Series, which for Pirate fans, they might be happy, they might not be, but my ego probably wouldn't have let me stay here early on in my career if we'd have gone to Omaha in some of those super regionals. And now I'm super pumped that we have a lot of Pirates on our coaching staff, and I think we're going to knock the door down and be a lot of Pirates in that dugout. And I think that's the way Coach LeClaire would want it too.
Easton, Brent comes back as director of ops too, right?
Yep, Easton Daly. So a guy that worked for us for 6 years, 4 as a undergraduate manager and two as a graduate manager, and he was actually director of baseball operations at Virginia Tech last year. So it was good for him to see something else, and then we were able to get him back, but another Pirate as well.
When you look at the landscape of college baseball, how much has changed with now you guys offer more scholarships, full scholarships compared to 11.7 is what it used to be.
Right.
Do you feel like you guys in a program are funded or given the resources needed to compete, continue to compete for championships, continue to compete for where you guys want to go? Is that as you guys kind of figure out this evolution of the game?
I just was on the phone with Carl Rogers, who's one of our biggest donors, and I told him, and there's so many of those guys out there that if they did not support our program at the level that they did, I probably wouldn't be here because we could not win at the level that we need to or the level we've been accustomed to. We are awarded right now 25, 26 and a half, full ride scholarships when you can have 34. I would say our rev share is in a really good spot from what it has been because we have very, very selfless donors. Yeah, I would definitely love to be at 34 full rides because that helps take away from some of the rev share money you have to raise. It's not all about the dollar. I hate when coaches sit up here and go, hey, man, you got to have more money, more money, more. Yeah, you got to have some. But if you're out there trying to get the player and you're the highest bidder, they're not going to have any stake in the game when it goes south. And I use this analogy, but Tennessee had about $3 million on the field. We beat them, so you can have a lot less money and still win baseball games. LSU, I'm sure, had a ton of money on it. Well, they didn't make a regional. Vanderbilt. I think people need to step back and look at the consistency of what we've done here. We've been to 8 straight regionals. I think we're one of 6 programs in the entire country. No, we have not gotten to where we want to go, but also we're also not putting $3 million on the field. It's a lot less than that. So I'm happy that we develop people, that people leave here, that stay here. They're better people. They're better equipped to go out there and be a dad, a good husband, contribute positively to society. I mean, what we're teaching young kids, I know this is not what you're, want me to be up here for, but never in life are they going to have all the power in a contract negotiation. Never. You're teaching them the wrong stuff. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know what we're teaching them is not right because these players, athletes that don't play professionally, where you're going to have to go work 9 to 5, and it's going to be a $50,000 job, and they're not going to give you a car, and they're not going to cater to your every beck and call that you have. They don't care. You got a job to do, and that's the thing that has frustrated me the most, the way that college athletics is going.
Yeah, I mean, it all goes hand in hand with almost all these big picture topics. Davy Jones, speaking a little bit to that in the chat, says, without the money and allure of a Power 4 teams, it's amazing how good your teams perform. Coach, mighty good teaching and coaching sure makes a difference. So he obviously pointed to a lot of what you said. And also, I just think, culture is a buzzword and probably overused to some degree. But, you guys, when I walk into the ECU baseball facility, the stadium, you can feel the family, the culture. And it's not that way with every sport I cover, whether it's we're talking to other people that cover other schools. So, I don't know, it feels like that's got to be – it's always been a daily battle for you and your staff, but now it's just when you're paying guys realistically different money or different resources, that's even more important than ever, right?
Yeah, no question. And look, I said it before the season. I didn't know we were going to have as much adversity with injuries and stuff before the season. But I had told Jeff, I told her, I was like, hey, man, when it goes sideways, the humans that we have in our locker room, they're going to keep the ship, between the guardrails, so to speak. And, man, there was time. It was life support. It's frustrating. And for every fan that's been frustrated the past couple of years, hey, nobody's been more frustrated than myself and Coach Palumbo because we know what it looks like when it's going good. But for us to pull it together, share a regular season conference title, win the conference tournament championship after losing a game in the conference tournament, having to sweep FAU to just play on Friday. That was our whole goal. It's never even really to win the conference, to be honest with you. It was just we need to play on Friday with our depleted pitching staff and then go to a regional and beat Tennessee in 14 innings. And, the game was managed at a high level. I can tell you that. It's one of the best games, if not the best game I've ever been a part of. And, of course, not, able to beat Carolina, but beating VCU. And at the end of the day, not where we wanted to be, but I'm really proud of the way our guys finished.
He is head coach Cliff Godwin. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. We got some questions in the chat we'll hit on. We'll talk about also some key returners, the draft, talk about Ethan Norby moving on, Gavin Van Kempen as well. So we'll hit on all that next. This is Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Dottridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Dottridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Dottridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, segment 2 here. Football season 23 days away. We're talking some baseball today. 23, good number in ECU lore. And Cliff Godwin with us. He wears 23 in honor of Keith LeClaire. And Coach, appreciate you joining us in studio today. And, you know, we were kind of just talking going into the MLB draft about all the different ways this stuff could go. I feel like from the outside looking in, it went about as well as it could have gone. I mean, I know y'all have signees who are getting looked at. You got guys who are draft eligible who could potentially go. I saw Davin Whitaker and Walker Barron recently just driving around and was like, glad you are back. So they're fired up to be back too. And I feel like just it went about as well as you could hope for a roster standpoint, right?
Well, I don't think it could have gone any better by any means. We're very blessed to have those guys back. I mean, Walker, Davin, and Tolik, Ryan Towers, Luke Payne, Colby Weber being back healthy, when the spring rolls around. All those are big pieces, as other guys, getting Grady Linehan back, Burris, Colby Wallace, Braxton Trammell will be healthy. Like I said, we got more depth at shortstop and catcher than we've ever had here. And so if you do have an injury, you feel like there is a very quality guy. And there's going to be a lot of competition in the fall, which I'm excited about. We saw Ethan Norby go to the Cincinnati Reds organization, and just watching him, I mean, from freshman year, pitching as a reliever starter, I thought it was kind of fitting he goes out as a guy just doing whatever it took to win, whether, hey, I'm sure ideally he would have liked to start the winner's bracket game against UNC, but y'all needed him against Tennessee and win that game. So I don't know. I feel like that was a fitting way to go out. What did you think? Well, I think if you cut Ethan Norby open, that he's a reliever at heart. He likes to go in and not overthink the game plan and just blow it by people and throw a slider. It's an adrenaline junkie thing. It's always been like, and he's always pitched his best baseball when it mattered most. And that's the thing I'll always remember about Ethan Norby, is he pitched his best late in the year every year. When you look back at his
recruitment. It is kind of crazy how, what was he throwing? High 80s, maybe at that point, mid 80s?
I would say 86, 88, Gus in 88 for sure, but a lot of strikes. And the Norbies, they've been blessed, man, with some athletic ability for sure. But Ethan, his work ethic, his maturity, probably from some of the things he saw Connor do not in the best way early on in his career. So he was very mature about his process and the way he went about his business early on his freshman year, to the point where I was like, man, I feel like I never talked to you. I talked to your brother, in my office like twice a week, about how to navigate practice and life. And I never talked to you. So I felt bad for the guy.
Gavin Van Kempen, we didn't know him too long, but I do think it says a lot. He comes to ECU as a guy who had potential at West Virginia, and he put it all together here. I know he got hurt, unfortunately, but that shows, too, the ability you guys as a staff have to kind of develop guys and get them to their ultimate dream, too.
For sure. GVK hugged me out in right field after we lost our last game, and super emotional. Coach's best decision in my life was to come here. We knew that he would not probably be coming back if, people had wanted him in the draft, which they did. So it was awesome. I'm glad he went to the Dodgers. It's a great development organization. I mean, look, opening day this year, we had 8 guys from East Carolina on major league rosters. So 4th best in the entire country. So little old Greenville, North Carolina. And then we have 4 that live here permanently in the offseason when none of them are from Greenville, North Carolina. Those things I go, and yes, I want to go to Omaha and win a national championship, but those relationships and the care that our players that stick it through have for our place means more to me than going to Omaha. If I have to choose between one of the two, I'm choosing that because those are lifelong relationships. When I'm FaceTiming Trey Savage on Tuesday after his surgery and just having a conversation to make sure he's good, those things matter more to me than anything else. When I don't ask those guys hardly for anything, I try not to because I know they get pulled in so many different directions, but we're going to have a MLB dinner this fall, and all of them have committed to come back to help raise money for our rev share. Like, that means more to me. And they're like, yeah, Coach, what can I do? Burley's like, hey, I think I'll have this Silver Slugger trophy. Should I bring it and be able to tell you? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, man. That'd be awesome.
The Burley thing is we know that he's so good with the bat to balls, and obviously the Cardinals do too. But for a while, they just wouldn't let him hit against left-handed pitchers.
They still doubt him. Yeah. They still hey, don't want him to face lefties. It's like the guy's 4th in the National League in RBIs, and he probably doesn't have as many at bats as the guys that are in front of him. And Burley just keeps proving people wrong. And a day when analytics is all people talk about, his exit velos are not to the level they should be. But the guy just hits. And he also plays in the toughest ballpark to hit home runs. And then he goes to Yankee Stadium and hits 3.
Yeah, and 3 in one game. That was pretty awesome, man. Going off guys who have made an impact on the program, Brody wants to know what did Parker Bird, mean to the program last few years, obviously going on to do some amazing things, but just what has he meant to Pirate baseball?
It seems crazy. It was kind of a vapor of time. I mean, 4 years ago on July 23rd, just a horrific accident. And, you see him at the end and he's moving so much better. I mean, people forget that, it took until Christmas of 2022, the accident happened in July, for him to get his first prosthetic. And that was not an athletic prosthetic. To then have to work his way to get an athletic one and then understanding his body and just the tenacity, the resilience, the hope he's given so many people, from other amputees to military veterans to just people that are struggling, man, and just seeing a guy that fighting for everything he gets. And like I told Parker, he's the most famous player that's ever played at East Carolina. And I don't think he would have had that platform if he'd have been just a normal player, and the gospel and the platform he has. I'm just super fired up for him. Now he's going out to California. He's going to try to train he's going to train for the Paralympics and continue to build his platform, and has a nonprofit now, Limitless, and just fired up for him because he's helping so many people across the world.
I do want to talk specifically about a few of the returners that you guys do get back, and we'll start with Ryan Towers. And he was a guy who came off a major arm injury, and it took him a little while to get that feel back, I should say. And just what he did for you down the stretch had to mean so much, obviously, with the injuries you were facing. But just how'd you see him mature and have matured in this program?
I mean, at the beginning of the year didn't even start off good. He wasn't good for us, and gives up 5 runs on a Saturday and doesn't get anybody out at UTSA, and then it's about 10 to 14 days, and he's got a no-hitter going against Duke for 5 2/3, and he just did a tremendous job just staying the course. I mean, there were doubts, man. There were times he's been through not just the arm injury that he had here, but a doctor looking at him years ago and saying, hey, man, you're never going to pitch again. Like, I've never done this surgery on his shoulder. It was kind of a volleyball injury from what the doctor was used to, but it was a degenerative thing. So he didn't think he would ever pitch again. And so I'm just so proud of him that he has just kept putting one foot in front of the other, and he wanted to come back for, this year. And he is a leader. He is really good on the mound, so we're excited.
We touched on Davin a minute ago. I always marvel at his growth, Coach, because and I've referenced this with you before, but that at bat in Durham, it was early 2025, I guess it would have been. He was so late.
It was against
McDuffie.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'll admit it. He looked bad over.
Well, and it was the shadows. It was the perfect storm. Davin probably wasn't totally ready for that moment. McDuffie's really good, and there's shadows halfway between home plate and the mound. So he got a bad straw for sure. But Davin, I saw something in him when he played in the state games, and it was the summer that Dietz got the pitching coaching job or the head coaching job at Fullerton. So I'm paying attention, but I got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm like, man, this guy, he's competing at a high level. He's like a baby giraffe. I don't know what position he's going to play. And to be honest with you, our assistants weren't sold on him, and I said, well, I appreciate it, but we're still going to offer him a very small scholarship. And, man, I thank God we did. And he needed a red shirt, and he's just continued to work his tail off, and super fired up for him. And I didn't – and this is not a knock against Davin. I didn't think he was ready for pro ball. I think he needs to drive the ball the other way to be able to sustain a professional career. It's like, Davin, look, man, you don't want to just go get an opportunity and then in a year they release you. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to, put together quality at bats over a course of a year and be a professional hitter. And so super fired up he's back.
And Tolik, we saw his potential obviously down the stretch, and I know he pitched in the summer draft league as well and seemed to really pitch well there. So maybe this is a better question for the fall, but do you see him as a potential frontline guy, a bullpen guy? Is that just kind of TBD? But we know the stuff is there, obviously.
Yeah, of course we want him to be a frontline guy, a weekend rotation guy, and I think it's going to determine, his health, his hip, all that good stuff. But he felt something kind of pop when he was pitching this summer, but it was like scar tissue, and he said it was like the best he's ever felt. So hopefully he continues to trend up, and I feel good about it. He's felt great ever since he got back at the end of the spring and, even pitched this summer. So we're going to be very diligent on how we use him this fall. But, we definitely would like to see him in our weekend rotation.
And Walker coming back. Proven catching, obviously defensive prowess, and he, I think, set career highs in home runs, doubles last year. So just getting him back as a guy you can count on. I know there's a lot of competition at catcher, and there will be this fall, but that's got to make you at least sleep a little better at night.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I am definitely pumped that he's back. I'm pumped with the depth we had. And, look, we've had to catch him at a level that is probably too much for what his body type is the past 2 years for sure. And you always want to have a guy that you feel good about putting back there that can at least spell him, but there will be competition. And I feel bad for Walker because he was given some not accurate information, and probably his expectations in the draft were not what reality was. And I felt bad for him. And I tell our kids now, I don't have any kids, and but if I had a kid that was the age of our players, I tell our player, I'm telling you what I would tell my son in this situation. A lot of times it's not what they're hearing from external voices, but it's always the truth, and it comes from my heart. So, Coach Godwin's the one that has to pick up the pieces when they're told bad information. And I'm thankful that Walker and I have a good enough relationship, and he knows that I have his best interest in mind, and we want him to come back here and be great.
We touched on Van Kempen, and it was just, horrific year for the injuries for you guys. Bad luck on the mound. Obviously, Sean Jenkins goes down. Weber goes down. So What's the outlook on those two guys? I've heard Jenkins had Tommy John. Can you confirm that? And just kind of, going forward on those two guys.
Yeah, Sean will not pitch in the spring of 2027. So even though Sean probably wants to punch me in the face right now as I'm saying that dude spends more time taking care of his body and rehabbing and has more range of motion in his elbow. That he had the full reconstruction and the internal brace, so that takes a little bit longer time to recover, but he has more range of motion in his elbow right now than I have in either one of mine. So that tells you how hard he works at it and stuff. So he's determined that he's going to be the fastest guy ever to come back, which I would not bet against Sean Jenkins, but he will not be back next year.
And then Weber, you guys hope to get him back?
No, Weber will be back. He just had the internal brace, so Weber will be back, and I think he'll start playing catch in September at some point in time.
Jenkins, I guess we'll cross this bridge when we get there, but I guess he will be draft eligible after next season. So is that going to be an interesting conversation with the time? Because we know his potential as a player long term.
Well, I mean, I think Sean has a lot of value in himself. Anybody that is willing to graduate high school early, so he's still going to be young. You got the 5-and-5 deal, so he's still going to have leverage. Sean is a first rounder, so are they willing to pay first round money to a guy that maybe is throwing bullpens but didn't pitch in the spring? I don't know. Maybe they are. So, but I know Sean's not going to be undervalued. I know that from the way he believes in himself.
And we saw it with Gavin Williams. Obviously, he could have made some money. I guess coming off COVID, he comes back.
$500,000 versus over $2 million. So I think he made the good decision.
He made the right decision. Yeah. So worked out pretty good for Big Gavin, who's shoving on a pretty regular basis in the MLB now. So pretty special. All right, we'll get our second break in. We'll come back. Final segment, Cliff Godwin on the way. We'll we'll talk to him about how the 5-for-5 rule has maybe impacted baseball roster building, that sort of stuff. Also, we got a comment or two in the chat we'll hit as well. And I'll talk about maybe some of the recruiting processes of transfers coming in this summer. So we'll hit that to wrap up. This is Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in color. and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hoist the sail! Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors. Ahoy, me hearties! Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in to the program. Final segment was CG, Cliff Godwin, ECU baseball coach, kind enough to join us for a large majority of this show. And we've hit on a little bit of everything. I did want to, I don't know how much this is your jurisdiction, Coach, but I'll throw it out there because it's a hot button topic on our shows and our podcasts. So Brian says we always talk about not filling the seats at home games due to season ticket owners not showing up, forcing people to the jungle with a lot of empty seats in the stadium. Do you have any sort of opinion on that? And, that's not really like your jurisdiction. You're obviously worried about the product on the field, but I would assume more fans in the seats would help you guys as far as home field advantage because they're closer to the action. So would that be ideal?
It would be ideal, but I think it's something that is, across the country. It's not just at East Carolina. I mean, you flip on any midweek game, whether it be Ole Miss or another, big-time baseball program, depending on who they're playing. I mean, there could be empty seats even though they have sold those tickets, season tickets. I don't know the answer. Yes, I have way too much stuff on my plate, to be honest with you. I want to put a exciting product on the field where everybody wants to fill those stands, that they want to come watch and they don't want to just watch it on TV. And that's our job, as I tell our players all the time. Our job is to get the fans into it. It's not their job to get into the game. Our job is to sell tickets and to get them in the seats and to be fired up and play with positive emotion.
The 5-for-5 ruling, obviously, there's the whole ordeal about the fifth-year guys coming back. You let Philip and I handle that at the end of the show. We can talk about that. So I don't want to have you.
I'm glad you and Philip. You have all the answers. Well, I mean, you got guys practicing in football, so I mean, it's going to happen, right?
I don't know what's going on, but you think so. But either way, how has the 5-for-5 deal changed maybe your baseball roster construction and with the draft being what it is now? I know there's talk about maybe changing that, but usually we see guys after their third year. That's when their leverage year is. Now, after a fourth year, you could potentially have leverage too.
Well, I mean, I think that at some point in time they're going to eliminate even more levels of minor league baseball, and you're going to look at college baseball, and it's going to be really those lower levels like low A and high A, and then there's going to be double A. I think that's coming. People, and this is off topic, but years ago when they started paying minor league players more, well, what they didn't understand is, okay, yeah, we'll pay you more. We're just going to eliminate lower levels. So there's going to be less players, but the players that do play are going to make more money. So the bottom line probably didn't change a whole lot, at least in my opinion. I haven't looked at their, budget or anything. So for us, I mean, look, we want our guys to play professional baseball. We want them, I shouldn't say that. We want them to play in major leagues. Like, your goal isn't to be a minor league player. It's to play in the major leagues if you play professional baseball. And Burley, Carter Cunningham, all those guys have told me I'd trade every minor league game back to come back and play one game at East Carolina. And your goal is to play in the big leagues.
You guys brought in some transfers, as almost any program does now. And from my conversations with those young men, they seem to fit your program very well. And just what were you looking for in the portal, personality-wise, trait-wise, also obviously position-wise?
Well, I think you've got to have talent, but then there's got to be a mentality. And we've done a better job the past couple years of identifying players, the fibers of the human being. I mean, when DJ LeMahieu, who I recruited and coached at LSU, is coaching up in the Northwoods League, and you ask him about a player, and he's like, yeah, coach, that guy can't do it for you. And then you call him about Drew Tolfree, and he's like, he's your type of guy. And you're like, okay, we can get behind that guy, even though maybe he's got to continue to come, talent-wise, which we believe he will because he's super athletic. Enrico, he redshirted his freshman year, and the guy that was the starting catcher at Young Harris came back the next year, and he beat that guy out. Well, okay, I can get behind that guy too. So, there's more stories like that as well, but we feel good about the talent we brought in, but also the type of people we brought in.
When you are looking at Enrico, maybe it's not an easy thing to say, hey, how a D2 or D3 guy like Braden Davis is going to translate to D1, but how do you do your best job to evaluate – all right, the guy obviously crushed this level of pitching, how does that translate to D1? Or is it kind of just hey, we like these traits and we'll see how it translates? I mean, is there exactly science to it?
I mean, you have TrackMan data now pretty much on every player that's Division II, Division III. So we feel comfortable with, what we evaluate, video, synergy, all that stuff. But Braden Davis, another great one, man. Like, that dude wanted to come to East Carolina. I'm fired up. He's probably going to make some of our other players uncomfortable. I love it. He went to Rowan to play football and baseball originally and had better baseball offers, but he was a high school quarterback, really good. And I think he ended up tearing his patella tendon like his first football game that he played there, and then just became a baseball player. But toughness, juice, opposite field power, all that stuff, and super fired up to have him too.
Just looking at it from my perspective, it seems like the competition this fall is going to be pretty crazy. Do you know how many guys you got going into the fall on the roster? I haven't even done the math yet, but I imagine it's well over 40. I don't know.
Yeah. We got 45 on the roster. Okay. Now we have DSAs in there, so it's not like we have to run anybody off. So, but I'm sure there'll be some guys that leave at the break, and I'm going to tell them in the team meeting, hey, man, everybody probably won't be here in January, and that's okay. But there's going to be competition, and I'm going to squeeze this group at a high level because they deserve to be squeezed, and with the talent that we have, I think we'll be where we want to be at the end of the year next year.
First base, I know this is something better in the fall, but
he's asking about first base. Can we worry about the first football game? I want to go hang out with Coach Harrell. I want to watch football practice.
Come to our. I tell you what, you come to our pregame show. I'll ask you about second base then. But first, just can you give me because obviously we know Austin Irby going on to other things. So that's the common question I get. Who's going to compete at first base? So do you have an idea of who you may see over there?
Well, careful what I say here. But the production at first base wasn't at the level, and that's not a knock against Austin. I mean, look, Austin and I had as good a relationship as anybody on our team. I think Austin's got a good heart, but he felt like it was better to go somewhere else. No problem. You've got two freshmen over there, William Benson, Janison Steele, Brady Thompson can play first. I mean, he's going to be a pitcher first, but he's also going to be able to play, anywhere in the infield. Really, he was a high school shortstop. Left-handed hitter. You got Braden Davis. You got Braxton Trammell. You got Colby Wallace. So, obviously, Colby is a really good third baseman. But, look, we got a ton of options, and we'll figure it out. Nick Parham's played some first base. So, like you said, a lot of competition. Be fun.
I'll have to make it out to many fall practices. I'll save my rotation question for the end of the fall.
Thank God.
Because I know a lot to work out between now and then. All right, a few more things before we get you out of here. I know you said earlier the last two regular seasons haven't been up to the standard of ECU baseball. So, when you evaluate that versus obviously what y'all were able to do in the conference tournament in the postseason, how do you kind of balance, all right, we need to improve here, to maybe make those regular season results?
I thought our roster construction last year was in a good spot. We just had more injuries than we could stay elite. Sean, GVK, Colby Weber, all going down. If you have talking to Carl Lafferty, he's like, CG, who can survive? Nobody can survive losing their Saturday, Sunday, and an All-American closer. Nobody can. And, Joe Webb's workload down the stretch, and, Ethan Rose and Charlie Hoagland, developing and coming into their own. There were a lot of positives, and like I said, I thought the roster construction was good. But at the end of the day, our job is to put ourselves in a position to host regionals, host super regionals, and get Clark LeClaire and the jungle rocking again. And it really hasn't rocked, to be honest with you, in 2 years. And that's disappointing to me, a guy that played here. So we're going to get it back right, and I'm fired up about it.
Fall scrimmages, do y'all have any planned as far as other competition, I should say?
I think it's October 9th. We're going to play Duke at the DBAP. Also, we'll be able to split the gate. So if we get a lot of fans, we'll be able to make more rev share for our guys. And then I don't have the October 23rd or 24th, whatever that Saturday is. We're going to play Gaston College, and then I've got one more kind of in the works that we're working on. So, but right now, both road games, and then we'll try to get one home game at some point in time.
All right, last thing. Are y'all still in the trailers?
Still in the trailers, man. Still in the trailers, rocking and rolling, man. I worked out of the press box a lot this summer just with the conversations. Trailer walls are pretty thin, so we'll be in the trailers definitely through Thanksgiving. And, the goal is hopefully we can move in before Christmas. I'm sure JJ and everybody else wants to do some kind of reveal like in January so the kids can't see it or something, but it's going to be awesome. Fired up for it. Our guys deserve it. Our coaches deserve it. Our pro players deserve it with a pro locker room, so just fired up for all that.
Well, awesome stuff, CG. We appreciate it, man, as always. And I'm hoping next time we get you in the studio that will be unveiled and we have step foot inside the new facility. So, because we've been talking about it quite a while. So
they're moving fast, so they're doing a great job.
Yeah, looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to fall ball, the competition. That's Cliff Godwin. Appreciate it again, man.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. One of the best, Cliff Godwin. A lot of shout-outs in the chat, too, Coach. Just fans loving your program, loving everything you do for the university. So I know everybody excited about having you on. We got to get a break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. Philip and I will talk about the 2022 class injunction. We'll close the show with some thoughts on that. As NC State has now brought a cornerback from that class back to practice. Still waiting on ECU to make a formal decision, so we'll hit on that to close the show. This is Hoist the Colors.
The power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Need cash for a vacation? National Finance Company is here to help. For over 50 years, National Finance Company has been the small loan specialist with loans from $1,000 to $5,000 with low payments to meet your budget. We're in the business of getting you the cash you need today. Apply online for a loan at one of our convenient branch offices and get your money as fast as today. It's easy. Get the vacation cash you need. For extra cash, visit nfcmoney.com.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
The hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacomas $259 a month or Tundras only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here. Really appreciate Coach Godwin, his time in studio. Always good to get Coach before things really ramp up during the fall. And once they start fall ball, then the season comes quickly. So glad to get him in here late in the summer as football season approaches. All right. We had talked with ECU AD John Gilbert about the 2022 class Wisney versus NCAA suit and the injunction on Tuesday. He basically said ECU, not in a holding pattern per his words, but kind of assessing the situation on a daily basis. Well, last night, news broke, NC State, another school, obviously public institution under the UNC system, they are bringing back fifth-year cornerback Jamel Johnson. He's been re-added to the roster, expected to start practice later this week. Johnson, according to Pack Power 24/7 Sports, started 10 games last season at corner for the Wolfpack, played 458 snaps, so significant player returning in their corner room. As a fifth-year guy, we know North Carolina has already brought a kicker back. We know other schools like Indiana, Virginia have brought players back. We also know Southern Miss, Marshall have brought players back. So I'm just getting a lot of angst on the social media world. Philip Pilkinen producing today. Like, why is ECU not bringing these guys back? And I've got a reason that I think ECU is being a little bit more conservative than most. But I understand the fans. Like, look, anytime a school up the road, 80 miles is doing it, multiple institutions in the same public university system, UNC system, like, I understand the frustration starting to build here a little bit.
Yeah, I do too. And so I'm just going to play devil's advocate because, I mean, I agree overall with our fans, but also we're just going to use JD for example. You bring JD in, he's practicing, he's taking reps away from another guy. This doesn't go through. Okay, well now, insert player X here just got less reps in practice for a guy who wasn't even eligible to play, right? And we're late enough in this thing now where JD, Sam, Marlon, like, even if they get here, if they start practicing tomorrow, still, do you feel 100% comfortable with them going out there and playing a significant number of snaps on game day? Week one, probably not. You're going to have to kind of whittle them back in slowly anyways. Yes, I'm all for being, proactive instead of reactive, but also, like, there's two ways to look at it, and I don't think, anybody's necessarily wrong for approaching it either way. It just kind of is what it is.
All right, how much of this is the fact that the NCAA is fighting this injunction? And I'm not saying Chancellor Rogers is the sole reason ECU has not brought these players back, but he is on the NCAA Division I Board of Directors, and the NCAA, as an acting governance body, is fighting this. So, like, how much of this is just the optics of that? Like, if you have a board of director bringing back those players against the suit that you're fighting, is that what this maybe comes down to?
Yeah, I think it 100% is what it comes down to, because then, that's going to be used as leverage in court by the judge, by the whoever's, suing or not suing, but, bringing up the lawsuit. Well, one of your institutions of someone on your board has already brought players back. They're trying to, do it, have it both ways. So, and that looks bad. When you're selected for these committees, it's a huge honor. You're selected for a reason. It's because you're well respected. It's because the NCAA views you as a vital member. And, there's a reason Philip Rogers was selected for this, and it would make him look bad. It would make the NCAA look bad. It would make the university look bad. So that's the situation we're in. And I mean, we can't sit here and pout about it. It is what it is. It's the same thing when you got somebody on any committee. It can be helpful in a lot of ways, and in certain situations it may hurt, but hey, you know what? They think enough of our chancellor to put them on that committee, so take that as a win. And, look, at the end of the day, those three guys practicing right now, it's not going to be the difference in this team winning a conference championship or not. This is going to go through or it's not, and we've got it's week 5 before we play our first conference game, and that's the end of the day. The goal is to win a conference championship.
My counter argument to that would be, yes, he's on the board, but isn't Philip Rogers' number one goal to serve ECU? And yes, the NCAA committee matters, and yes, like, I get optically it probably wouldn't be a good look, but to me, and I agree with you, generally speaking, like, bringing J.D. Lampley, Marlon Gunn, Sam Danka back today versus late next week probably isn't going to make the difference, but, like, between 10 and 11 wins. But I do think it matters because, like, we are talking about if these guys just came in as transfers last year and they spent 1 year at ECU and we're just kind of bringing it back for pure depth, I would be less up in arms about it. But these guys, all three of them, did start from day one at ECU, finished at ECU, graduated from ECU. Like, I feel like they deserve more of a fight on their side of things because of that.
And that's fair enough. They've been very loyal to university in a time when not a lot of guys are. But like I said, this is not going to be drug out much longer. Look, the last ad drop day is 5 o'clock next Friday. Like, this is not like, oh, we're not doing it now. What if this drags out another 2 months? No, if it drags out another 2 months, the football players are not going to get to play. It's a basketball and it's a baseball issue. So start naming those names, right? And for us, I think it's more of a spring sport than a winter sport thing because as far as I know, Gardner, Riley and Amajuro are all ineligible anyway.
Yeah.
So, look, if this drags out 2 more months, it doesn't matter what happens. So if it's not done by next Friday, it's not done by next Friday.
So something to monitor. And again, the NCAA, their initial appeal was denied by the judge, of course, as it went back, and now it's going to the 10th Circuit. And I have heard the expectation is by the end of next week that the general feeling in the sport is we'll know for sure by then. So, but look, I just know anytime NC State and Carolina are doing something ECU's not, it's going to create some problems. And I get the outcry as well from ECU fans. And, again, going back to these guys are well known. They're not just random players. They are graduates of ECU and day one guys at ECU that the fans have followed for 4 years now. So, all right, tomorrow we're going to welcome back Bobby Harward. We're also going to start our conference previews. I need to send this list to Bobby Harward so he doesn't come in blind. But we're going to do the American Conference starting tomorrow. We're going to run over – how many conferences are there now? 10 still?
10,
okay.
yeah.
I guess because the G5 to G6 confuses me. But we're going to go through all 10 conferences, pick different categories, predict our champion, dark horse title contender, most exciting players, best quarterback from each league. So excited about that. American Conference tomorrow. Will anybody have us? The Pirates winning. We'll talk about that, the three of us. So looking forward to Friday's show. Thanks again to Cliff Godwin. Also appreciate Philip as always, Adam and Mary behind the scenes too. We'll see you Friday, 12 noon.